Good evening. Hope you are all well. I'm just adjusting my stand here. Good evening. Hello, everyone. I've missed you so much. I've not been here for a few weeks, but I'm back. Back feeling ready and really energized, really excited about tonight's guest who's already here with me. Good evening. It feels funny to call you by your first name. I feel like I need to always call you Miss. But yes, back tonight with Purpose Driven Life. I am Jernine Russell. I have been doing this since March 2021 after I had a little nudge from my favourite person, my good old dad, aka God, who said, I want you to talk to people about purpose. I want you to explore purpose. I want you to help people to find their purpose. So I was like, well, how am I going to do that? He said, do what you do best. Talk, ask people questions, get to know a little bit more about what people are doing, how they're walking in their purpose journey, explore it and put it on Instagram. So that's where I am. The hope is to develop it into something. I don't know what it's going to turn into, but I believe that when God asks you to do something, he always makes it grow into something amazing. So I think it's already amazing. So that is really good. The reason that I am doing this as well is that purpose was something that I wouldn't say struggled, but I wanted to know. I was really curious and really wanting to understand about purpose in a little bit more detail. And I read a book called Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren a couple of years ago, and hence the title of the kind of series that we're doing now. The book was really helpful, and now I'm here having this conversation with everybody. So I am going to just go straight ahead and add our guest. I feel rusty because I can't even remember how to do it. Let me remember. Oh yes, I think that's the one. Updated certain things over here now. Let's see. Good evening. Hey. How are
Hey,
you?
I'm good. I'm good. Oh, I'm happy to be
Well,
here.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to have you. I feel like I said to Ray, oh, I've got this tonight. And she's like, oh, mummy, when are you going to put it on YouTube so I can watch it? So I will make sure that I do it quickly before the week.
Mm.
No, probably even tonight I might get it on there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's I'm getting really good at this stuff now.
I like that.
I'm the original technophobe, but I'm getting better as I go forwards. Thank you for joining me.
Pleasure, pleasure,
It
pleasure.
is just I do this, and every week that no, there's been a few weeks where I haven't done it, and I tell you, I felt lost. I, my
Mm.
weeks have felt really heavy. I felt really unmotivated. I just haven't had the energy, and I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
realized that it's a bit like when I don't pray. There feels like
Right,
something's missing. When
right.
you're like, nah, something don't feel right. So I realized that I have to keep doing this. I'm running out of people
Mm-hmm.
to ask. People are saying,
Aye.
no, I want to go live. And that. I know. People are really scared of
Nah.
this
It
thing.
needs to keep going. Because by you doing this, you're walking in purpose. So when you're not, that's why you're feeling like a bit
This is
like,
it.
you know?
That is so true. So true.
They will
Good
come, don't
evening,
you worry.
everyone. Good evening, everyone joining us. I always start by saying how I started doing this. I think I've already said it earlier, but for the people that don't know me, I'm Jernine Russell. I am, what should I say? I'm not going to go into what I am, but the reason that I'm here with this beautiful lady is through being a mum, actually. Um, and one day, my middle daughter, Ray, came home and said, oh, mummy, I've got a teacher. I wish she was my mum. And I was like, what? What? Excuse me. What do you mean you wish she was your mum? What are you trying to say? And then I hadn't seen you. And then I went in the playground and she pointed you out. And I said, oh, okay, I get it. I understand. I don't take any offense to it because I see what it is.
Oh,
Young, vibrant, but the passion that you have for teaching those children. It just was,
oh,
the assemblies were just amazing. All of the things, you just implemented all of this love and I don't know how to explain it, but it felt different. It felt different. The school was a different place when you were there.
mm.
It's not the same anymore.
Oh,
It
oh.
really isn't. And then you had a crew of like young, energetic black
Yes,
women, you
yes,
know,
yes,
just, vibed off each other. And
yes,
yeah,
love it.
we, we need to write to the governors or something because there's an absence of a little bit of a vibrancy and that kind of colorful and you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
I know what you're
You
saying.
got me. But yeah, it was beautiful to watch, and I love to see that kind of the next generation teaching the next generation, really,
Hmm.
and it's important. So no matter what your purpose is, I think you're always going to inspire, motivate, and edify people, whether they're little people or big people. But yeah, that's definitely, I didn't take any offense once I saw who you are. I even came and told you, she was so embarrassed. Mommy, why are you doing that? But yeah, but that's how we kind of started to kind of speak. And then we realized the circle is quite small. We've got friends of friends or people we know, mutual friends and stuff like that. So, I think the kingdom is always connected, isn't it? Always
Yeah,
aligned.
100%.
Yeah.
And even the way you would speak to me, I was like, oh, there's something different about this parent as well. And then I saw that, I was like, okay, Christian circle, okay, Spirit of
Yeah.
God is,
Yes, what it
is in
is.
this. And there was a time, I'm telling you, that I was really low because it was quite stressful at the time. And you came and found me in the playground and you just spoke some encouraging words. Like, I think you said something like, you know what, when it's your time, like God will just align things for you. And I needed those words at the time because honestly, when you can't speak about certain things that are going on, like parent
Yeah.
teacher
I got
situation.
my little thing. That's when Dad confirms what's going
Mm,
on. But I actually remember because I think it's after you had your baby,
yes,
and they
yeah,
wouldn't let you. We can talk because you're not there
yeah,
anymore. We're
yeah.
not even
That's fine.
mentioning what the school is anyway. But you wanted to cut down your days, and they weren't
Yeah.
having it. And I just thought, you know what, this is not on. You're
Mm,
a credit to you're an asset to that school and you've had a baby. Other people work
mm,
part-time. This is not
mm,
unusual, is it, really?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I have no teachers that work like 2 days a week and they had to
yeah,
have two different class teachers because
yeah.
of to accommodate them. So why are anyway, I'm glad
And
that you got
thank
your
you.
kind of
Yeah, thank you. Because that's at that point I was feeling like less than I was. I was losing my worth kind of thing. So when you came and said how valuable you are, I was uplifted immediately. So thank God that He used you and
ah
that you yeah, honestly, it made me be able to continue for that little bit longer that I was there.
I appreciate that, man. That just you know what, every time I do this, I feel
Mm,
like I get reminded of what my purpose is because
mm,
encouragement is my thing and to
right.
be able to do it without even thinking about it because I would just speak to you like how I would speak to my friend or my little sis or whatever and yeah, it feels nice that it kind of helped you. Yeah, that's really good.
Definitely.
And that smile, we missed that smile, man. I miss that smile. We haven't had assembly for a long time, but I
Oh
used to
yeah.
sit there and just be like, yeah, look at this. Along the sides, you lot used to like stand or sit
Yeah,
down in the
yeah, yeah,
classes.
yeah.
And I used to look around and say, this is why I love this school because it was just so
Mm,
multicultural.
mm,
And my
mm,
daughters had positive Black women
mm,
who
mm,
just, you know, there was just the way that you lot had this, you like queens, you stand with a certain demure
mm,
and respect and yeah, I do they're not there anymore but I've got my
yeah.
son still I'm just going to keep praying that we'll have some
Mhm.
more, maybe some black male teachers for him, because
Mhm.
that would be
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
nice. And some women too. We don't, I
Yeah.
just think it's a good to have positive representation in
Yeah.
schools. So yeah, I'm kind of alluding to kind of what you're doing and what's happening, but I want to hear more about where you are and what you're up to. The
Okay.
world of Instagram is amazing because it means that we can connect without
Mhm.
connecting, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, I might not see you, but I kind of know what's going on. It was a,
Mhm.
do you know what I love today? You put your song in the background of the thing, and I was like, why did I think of that from before? That doesn't that feel amazing to have your
It,
name up on that
to be
thing?
honest, just type it up and then it's like, oh, is that me? Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh
many
no,
songs as well.
the best feeling is when it happens to come on like Spotify or whatever, and then my daughter's like, "Mommy, that's you." I was like, oh.
Ah,
Like so you can
you
recognize
can
the voice.
recognize
Yeah,
your voice.
that is.
Ah,
Good.
that's
It's like, wow,
lovely.
that's crazy.
Ah, that's so lovely. So lovely. So, good evening, everybody who's joining us.
Mhm.
We have been just having a little catch up, little chit chat about how we came to know each other across the playground. We thank Ray for that introduction.
Thank you, Ray.
um, we have to big her up because she said she's going to be
Yep.
watching this on
Come on now,
YouTube. So, because she's not allowed
star
Instagram.
girl. That's my star girl. I told her.
She makes us very proud, very
Mm.
proud. You'll be proud when you see her.
Oh.
Um, so I was talking about purpose, talking about how I came to be doing this. It's an assignment that I've been given, and
Mhm.
I just run with it until he says, I don't want you to do it anymore, or
Mhm.
whatever happens. So I've been doing it since March. I was doing it every week, and that was actually working. It was doing really well. And then had a little break over the summer, came back, and then honestly, the reason that I haven't been here is because getting people at the moment has been a real challenge. So anybody who feels like they have something to kind of speak about in terms of purpose, they want to talk about their purpose journey, please message me because I'm open to having conversations with you. I've got a few people lined up, I think probably up until Christmas, and then
Okay.
maybe in the new year, I'm going to start having to find lots of people again. But the way we do it is I ask the same questions, but we just have this lovely little conversation, and then we put it on Instagram TV and onto YouTube so that then it's accessible to the world, which
Right.
is nice. So my first question is always no, sorry. Introduce yourself to our lovely audience, please.
Okay, well, what can I say? I'm Philippa Bamgboye. Um, I would say, singer-songwriter, probably that, yeah, the balance between teaching, yeah, probably I would aim for that. And teaching as well. I'm a primary school teacher. I'm a wife to Dele, hey, and I am a mother to my beautiful girl Maya. And
Who's
I'm a
just turned
Christian.
30.
Yes, she
Yeah,
just turned three. I
I
can't
can't
believe it.
believe it. I can't believe it.
Honestly, it's just gone like that. So
Yeah, she'll soon be going to school as well.
please, even now
Before you blink.
I'm trying to look for your nursery, and I'm just like, I don't know how. I need
Oh,
to lay down
really?
to, even as a parent, like, just I'm thinking about, I want to send her to the right place where they're gonna, treat her how do you even step out to find nurse? Like, I know
You
you can
just phone
look,
me because I'll give you a list of questions.
please,
I've done it 3 times. Um, and I think it's nicer because of the age she
Mm,
is that she will be able to give you that sense. She'll be able to say to you, right,
mhm,
mummy, I like it or I don't. Because when my children started, they weren't of an age where they could speak or say,
mm,
you know,
mm,
but
mm,
she's at an age where she can communicate with you. So um, for me, it's always about the personal recommendations from parents who live in your
mm,
local area. Um, Sometimes it's good to just be in the area, like at pick up
mm,
and drop off times, because you see lots of the
right,
mums hanging out. Just go and have a word with them. Say, I'm thinking of sending my, what do you say? What would you recommend? Um, the Facebook world, I know it's a bit Facebook is a bit dated, but Facebook is really great for community and for
Mm,
parents. So for me, where I live, like East London, Walthamstow, Chingford, there's a
mhm.
lot of groups that I'm in for the parents, and then you can just ask anything, and there's hundreds of thousands of people that will reply and say, what this nursery, that nursery. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I would
Okay.
say. Yep. So
That's
it's
already
all right.
tips
It's
I'm
like
taking, yes.
it's just one of the milestones of like
Mm,
many. I feel like the hardest thing I ever did was choose a school for the child, for Riley, the first one. That was difficult, but yeah, you'll get there. You've got insight
Yeah,
more
yeah,
than I
yeah.
had. You know what I mean?
I think that's what makes it a bit scary because I
Yeah.
know what can go on. But
Yeah.
no, yeah,
And I think
yeah.
obviously it depends on where you live, where you work. Are you going to choose? Because I remember with the girls, they had a nursery that was near to, I think it was near to my mother-in-law because she was really heavily involved in the pickups,
Yes,
and it was
yes.
en route to work, but it wasn't it wasn't near to where we live.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think
So
that's
it
what's happening,
depends
what's
on
gonna happen. Yeah.
what you're looking for, and also think about when you're not at work, how far is it to get to when
Mm,
you're, dropping on a day off or whatever. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, lots of things to think about, lots of
Mm,
things. So yes, thank you for introducing yourself.
yes.
So my first question is
Mm.
always, what does purpose mean to you?
Purpose, wow. It's a big, weighty word that can be terrifying. But when I step back from the word, I would say it's just a continuous yes to God's will. And the reason why that I said that the word scares me and I have to step back from it is because it makes it sound like it's the end result, like a package, like I've fulfilled purpose. But as I've gone over the years, I've realized that it's literally a day by day, step by step journey to just doing God's will. And yeah, that's my summary. Yeah.
That is, every time, I swear I say this, everyone, if you watch every single episode, I say the same thing. Because every single I can't even remember how many people I've done this, asked this
Mm.
question to, but every answer is different.
Oh.
Every single answer is different. Nobody brings the kind of um, dictionary
Mm-mm-mm.
answer. And I think it's quite personal. Purpose is personal
Yeah.
and unique. And I think it depends on kind of where you are. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Um, but I do think there's a definite connection to God
Mm.
that just I can't see how, because He created you for a purpose. That's how I
Mm.
think about it. So for the people that don't move or walk with God, I don't understand. I don't get it
Mm.
really.
Mm.
Or maybe I need to actually interview somebody who
Yeah.
doesn't believe
Yeah. To see.
so that I can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I know anyone.
Anybody in the chat
Honestly,
right now? Anybody? Just say you're not
yeah.
a believer, and then we'll know.
And the other thing I was showing, I'm doing a course at the moment, and I showed one of the other people on my course my Instagram uh, feed, just because she's kind of wanting to get more into Instagram, and I was just showing her thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so undiverse. There's
Mm.
not so I. It's not because I don't
Mhm.
want to, but so I'm putting it out there. Any
Mhm.
non-believers and anybody who's not from a Black, Caribbean, or African background who wants to talk about purpose, please let me
Come
know.
true. Mhm.
Yes, that would be really good because I think it's good to have a kind of a overview from all different perspectives. I don't want it to just be a one thing.
Yeah.
I want it to be
Yeah.
encompass all. So, yeah. So, God's will and saying yes daily. That's,
Mm.
yeah, that is interesting. It's not easy.
Not at all.
It isn't.
Not at
But what I've found, I've become more obedient in my latter years.
all. Ooh.
And when I say yes, I wouldn't say that it's always smooth and everything is
Mhm.
rosy, but it feels different,
Mm,
and the result is different
right.
when I say yes and when it's operating in purpose.
Mhm.
As I said, those couple of weeks that I wasn't doing this and was just working, so it didn't feel right. I didn't feel right.
Mhm.
You know, it just, I don't know how to say that. So yeah, I think that's I love that. I love your take, and it
Mm,
always makes me think about it and to just approach purpose from all the different angles that everybody sees it from. I think that's
mhm.
good. So tell us, what is your purpose?
My purpose, well, I think my number one heartbeat, my mum told me when I was 8, I wrote it down as I want to be a gospel singer. That's what I wrote down. And yeah, when I was 8, she told me, and I was like, obviously, as I've gotten older, you start to think, is this even really possible? Like, as a career, is it possible? So I haven't, even now, my mind's not like career, but it's just something that I know is like my avenue of creativity and spreading a message that I believe in, that I feel uplifts and brings healing, comfort, like I feel like I'm part of my purpose is to receive like a melody song and to put it out, and it reaches like beyond maybe even believers, like people that can still relate, and it hits a place. I believe that's part of my purpose. I believe also that um even in terms of working with women, I don't know this, I didn't grow up with women. I just, obviously my mum, but I have 4 brothers, so I was
Oh,
very much, yeah, I'm very much like guys. Even in school, I was with the guys. But there's something when I've connected with women, especially when it comes to faith or even things that they've gone through. I feel like I've learned so much from other people's experiences, and it's made me have such a heart as well for women or people that are downcast. I don't know, something. Most of my songs as well, I kind of relate to people that are feeling a certain way, like down, but let's speak truth into that situation. And I think that's my heart, really, to address those areas through music, through conversation, and obviously new purposes have come, like being a wife and a mum. It's all, yeah, it's all all part of the purpose. Yeah, and in teaching as well, because the reason why I went into teaching is because I love creativity, and I studied psychology, so I was understanding the mindsets. I was studying about the importance of the input into a child and how it affects them later on, all these things. But I was like, there's no job role that allows me to be creative and also impact and impart. Like, what am I going to do? Don't want to be a psychologist. I don't want to be stuck in an office. So teaching kind of allowed me to explore and release my gifts, but also educate, and also pastoral care, all
mhm.
those things. I think that's probably my favorite part of teaching is the pastoral care, not so much like geography and although there's a place for that, but I think where I feel like I'm bouncing off is when I'm imparting wisdom or key characteristics, like how you speak, how you engage, integrity, like all those things. It hits me differently when I'm in a classroom of children that maybe you've never, like, what's integrity? What do you mean I can't lie? Like, what do you mean? Like, how would that impact me? Like, I can just say what I want, do what I want, but I'm like, no, no, you can't. And so when I'm in that position, I feel like, yeah, I'm walking in purpose even in that as well. So yeah, lots of bits, but that is me.
You know what? I just remembered the many Fridays, because that was my thing, because I don't work on a Friday, so I used to always come to assembly.
Mm.
And I remember you reading out the Star of the Week.
Oh.
And your Star of the Week, so Star of the Week was like this kind of like recognition of the children's efforts or
Mhm.
something success that they've achieved for the week. And the teacher would make a little note of why they've given them the Star of the Week. And I'm telling you, this woman, when she start to read this thing about these children, if you are not, you could see them sit there like from like sitting down, and then
Mm.
almost like their body, and they're just like their
Ah,
smiles, just I just remember that. It was
mm,
just amazing. And I thought, wow, I want someone to speak like that about me. You know, just having a teacher speak and edify you like that at a
mm.
young age, that just makes a difference. That's life changing,
Oh,
you know. And I just, yeah, I do remember that. And yeah, and it was to every child. Every
mm.
time you read, some other people would just say, oh, they did well in maths, but yours was always like this kind of essay of you know what this person has done, and you just, I think you made them children feel so special.
It was
So I
my
think
favorite part of the week, honestly. Like everything led to that point because I feel, as I said, education is fantastic, but when you can speak into someone's character and like show them the light that is in them, and where they can go with it, it's unmatched, and it's what I found most joy. So even now, I work Monday to Wednesday, so I miss that Friday kind of celebration, and it just pains me. But I'm the one that writes it still, but another
okay,
teacher
oh, that's good.
reads it out. Yeah, reads it out. But yeah, honestly, it means everything. It means
Yeah,
everything. So
and I
yeah,
just think about it. I don't know. I'm 41 now, and I can still remember my teacher. I don't know what they call it now. I was in infant free, so I think that's year three.
yeah, must be.
I think it's year three. But I remember my teacher from then. And I
Mm,
remember the smiley faces she used to draw on my work. And she just was this, she just had this positive energy, and she just used to speak. And imagine I'm 41, I was probably seven or
mm,
eight, and I still
my
remember her.
gosh, my
So
gosh.
what I'm saying is, and that's just what I say to teachers sometimes, and some of the teachers that I see at school, and I say, you know, not teaching isn't for everybody. Yeah. Sometimes we go into careers and we don't like it. And what if
Mm.
you are not passionate, if it's not your purpose, I really don't think you should be teaching anybody's children, honestly. And you know what? The children can tell, and we
Mm,
can tell as parents as well.
mm,
And I see it from how older children who go to secondary school say, "Oh, mom, I love that teacher because of
oh,
this and this." Because when you're doing something with that passion,
yeah.
people can see it, they receive it, they feel it, you know. And
Mm.
the lukewarm teachers, oh,
Mm.
yeah, they make me very upset anyway. But they don't always last very long, as what I
Mm.
the other thing
Well,
that I've noticed. Yeah.
well.
But we just want you to keep on doing what you're doing, keep speaking life into the next generation,
Mm-hmm.
because you know the words that we know about the power of the tongue. If you speak those
Mm-hmm.
words into them from this young age, who knows what that's gonna and
Mm-hmm.
where that's gonna take them later on. So I love that. I love that your purpose is multidimensional as well. That it's not
Mm.
there's so many layers to it.
Yes.
And yeah, that's what because I think sometimes people get stuck thinking that it's this one linear
Mm.
path.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say purpose is like that?
Not at all. There's so many aspects, and it can feed into each other, you know. Even in like, say, if you're a teacher, some people end up being like, if they're in a church, Sunday school, they can assist there, or even different creative things you've learned or ways to manage your time. It can just discipline, different things feed into different areas. And especially the music for me, I feed it into my teaching. I think that's another thing that makes it like fun. Like everything we're doing, if it's maths, I'm like, what's your operation? What's your, like we make it lively because I'm not here to be bored either, you know?
It's so true. But you know what? I remember I was trying to speak to Ray yesterday. She was revising,
Mm,
and I was saying I love music, so I used to sit like rap it or kind of put
mm,
it in a song to like the beat of like one of the songs that I liked at the time, and
mm.
then that's how I would like reinforce it through the
That's
music.
it. That's
So
it.
I think children they're creative. I think they're really creative, most of them. And I think sometimes it can help the different learning styles of children, because not
Yeah.
all children are going to be like 1 + 1 is 1. You know, like it's just yeah, I think we need to have different ways of teaching, and I like the, yeah, I think you're one of those teachers that they don't forget, definitely.
Ah, nice.
It's
I
not
love
that
that.
boring. You know, those boring teachers, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
that's good. That's good. So you said at 8 you knew you wanted to be a gospel singer.
Mm.
What do you think inspired that at 8? What was it? Did you see people singing around you?
Do you know what? It's a, I think I've got a musical family. Like my grandma was part of the first gospel group in the UK. So they are like, they're coming from that environment, and then when we gather together, it's always singing and in church, and then even my brothers like will be out, and then they'll be like, all right, you got a topic. I still do it to this day, if I'm bored with people, I'll give them a topic, and then they like there's an instrumental playing, and you just have to freestyle. Like it's part of life, like music. And my brothers really forced me to be confident. Like even if I mess up the next line, it's like they just created that environment for me to just be creative, be free in music. And then I used to like, I think back then, no, I didn't have access to internet like that, because I'd listen to a song that I really like Lauryn Hill. I used to love, I still do love Lauryn Hill. And I'd have my book there, and I'd pause what was sung and write down the lyrics quickly and play, and then so just so I
Are
could
you from
rap
that
and
generation?
listen,
Really? Oh wow. Because I
listen.
know I used to do that. The tape,
Yes,
rewind it,
yes, that's
the
it. Pause,
videos on the box.
write down the lyrics for myself, so handwritten everything. So I think when I'd sing it back, and just the ad libs, I appreciated harmonies, all of those things. I think it just made me feel like, oh, I just love doing this. I'd love to do this when I'm older. And I think that's where it kicked off.
Wow. Do you love Sister Act too, by any chance?
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I wouldn't say like I can reel off everything, but yeah.
Oh, that's my film, man. That is my film. I just love the singing. I love and they bring the gospel into that film. That's what I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah,
And they put a little funkiness to it. That's just like
yeah.
my poor children. I had to like school them. We had like a day. I can't remember. This was years ago. And I was like, right, you've got to watch this film
Uh,
because this is mummy and my sister's favorite film. We know all the
uh,
words, we know all the songs, everything. So
I
yeah. But I
know.
just think of when I think of like gospel,
Mm,
even though they're not, Tanya Blunt is, Lauryn Hill isn't, but I think of
mm,
that scene in that film where they're at the piano.
mm-hmm.
They sing in the eyes, the
Yeah, his eyes just very,
his
yeah.
Barrow. And I just was like, wow. That's when I used to love singing.
Mm,
I was all right, but not I didn't ever want to have a career in singing. I just like to
mm-hmm,
express myself through singing. But
mm-hmm,
when I saw that film, I think it was just, I don't know, it really hit me. Those harmonies in that song
mm-hmm.
when, oh my
Yeah,
goodness, like the goose pimples that I felt. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I can definitely understand why you love it. And
Mm,
I was listening to some of the words of your songs, and it's just like, I don't know, man. It is a real gift. It's a really
mm,
wonderful gift to communicate through song, because I
mm,
feel like it hits differently in music than it
mm.
does. You know, I like to write, but not
Yes.
everybody, like I'm a reader. So when I receive and I read, I get really kind of immersed in words.
Mm, mm,
Maybe that's why I listen to music and I hear it, the words. I don't know, it's just different. I can't
mm.
explain it. I loved your wordplay, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Hey. Oh.
Um, yeah, it's because you can say things. It's like you can go to church and listen to a word, but they
Mm-hmm,
can read the scripture and it hits you. Oh, all right, you receive it, whatever. But there's times when I've listened to a song that's the same scripture and it's like,
mm,
oh, that's what it meant. You know what I mean?
mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm,
So I think we have to have all of these different ways of communicating
mm-hmm.
words, just communicating a message. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100,
So
100%.
keep writing the music for us, please. We will
Yeah.
keep on listening to it. Um, what was the other so you knew what you wanted to be, a gospel singer, at the age of 8, but how did
Hmm.
you know that your purpose was to do all of the things that you're doing?
I think that's the thing. I can't say, oh, I knew. Like, it's not like one day everything was just revealed. What I used to have this vision a lot of, like when I'd be praying, I'd close my eyes and I'd just see like a fog, like a mist, and I'd be like, oh, I wish. I used to say, I just want to see clearly. Basically, like one of my friends told me, I walk around with a stamp on my forehead saying clarity. Like I just want clarity. That's I want
Hmm.
to know everything, and that's just my nature. I feel quite distressed if I don't know exactly how things are. But I feel like if I did, then where would the trust in God be? Do you know what I mean? So with purpose and all these different things I'm in, I don't think I've ever heard, yes, you're going to do this and this time and whatever. It's literally been, and that's why I think I said it daily, because it's literally been a stepping out in faith, trusting. And also someone said to me once when I was like, I'm not sure, they were like, okay, but is your heart wanting to please God? And I was like, yeah, I'm not out here trying to just do my own thing and like I'm just wanting it. So they're like, well, that's it then. That's like, basically you have to trust that by wanting to please God, you'll be walking in his will. And so that's one part of it. But obviously when it's coupled with people that are sound around you, that have wisdom and can pray with you, that's like, it just works like every day, because you may not have the answer, but you're basically in safe hands and with a safe network of people as well. So yeah, I can't say that I've ever known. Like if I've just walked,
Mhm.
I've just walked, and I feel that may be what has held me back in the past, waiting to know. There's one song that I had, Peace is Mine, and I said in the song, like fear of failure was my biggest hold setback. Fear of failure was the biggest one, and if I held on to that, nothing would get done. And that is literally my truth. Like I could have and I can choose to stay in that place of like, I don't want this to not be, not so much not work out. It's more my fear was like, I don't want this to not be God's will, and I'm like, what if I didn't hear a official resounding yes, what if, and then I said no, but that if I held on to that moment, that feeling, nothing would ever get done. I wouldn't even release music and stuff. But it's just knowing that my heart is to please God, and this is a gift that I know I have. I just want to do the most with it, and yeah,
I
that's
was
it.
gonna say, one of the things I interviewed a guest, I can't remember how many weeks ago, but Robin Travis, his name is, he's an author.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
and what he was saying is that there's times with his purpose that he doesn't want, this is not what he wants. It's
mm,
God's will, but it's not what he wants to do. And
mm,
he finds that really hard. Have you ever had any part of your journey where purpose is really hard? Because I think writing and singing comes quite naturally to you.
mhm,
You enjoy
mhm,
it. You
mhm.
know, I can see it. Like sometimes when I see your videos and you're just in that, you're immersed in it, like you're feeling it. Do you know what I mean? But is
Yeah.
there any, because, and I can definitely relate to it because I've done a job for a long time. I do feel like God definitely led. It wasn't something I chose,
Mm.
and it was very painful. Like I didn't want to do it at all. Um, but I knew that it was God wanting me to do it. Has
Mm.
there ever been that time in your journey where you've been like tussling with God because it's not necessarily what you really want to do?
I think just before I released my first single, that I was at that place. This is just one of the many examples. So this one is I I felt like, if I people have said for time, oh, why don't you just put music out? Oh, go on X Factor. Even now, if I hear that, it just stresses me, because I'm like, no, I don't want to like look or come across like puffed up, or I think I'm good enough, I'm thinking I'm that good to say listen to our music. All these things made me feel like it's kind of about me, I guess. I was thinking I don't want to be perceived the wrong way. um but when a friend of mine, she was going through a hard time, and I didn't have words to say. Like I thought, wait a minute, I've got this song that I've written, and at the time it was just on SoundCloud. It wasn't out or anything, and I just thought I didn't want to share my music like that. I just felt a bit, but I felt impressed, like just to send it to her. But I thought it's so cringe, me me sending my own vocals to someone else. I just felt like, oh, it's a bit. At the time, I was thinking about myself and how I'd be viewed. But I felt prompted to do it, and it was hard. It was really hard for me. But when I did, her response, because as I said, I didn't have words for what she was going through, but for her to say how much it helped her, I was like, oh, like this is what being a beat, like, do you know what I mean? This is what walking in that God's will is. Like, if I just said, oh, hearts, you know, or whatever I thought would be enough, like, it may not have had the same impact. And that's what woke me up to the fact that this music is just, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me feeling like I can do it, or, you know, all that stuff. Because at the end of the day, it's not down to me. It's God that gave me it. So let me just not even just put it out there, but make an effort. And I think that's what I'm still struggling with, that as well. Like finding the balance. Like, you know, some people say, okay, like my brother asked me the other day, where are you looking to go with this, Philippa? Like basically he's asking me to take it up a notch. And I'm just like,
I love that. We
yeah,
need more
like,
people around us, you know.
yeah. And even I couldn't really answer him, because I'm like, all I'm seeing as the next step is like, what am I trying to do? Like, be on some kind of, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It seems like people are at a certain place, and what does it take to get there? Does it mean I have to change in a certain way, or
Mhm.
um, all these things that I feel like, how do I make it? But I also feel that by him asking me that, it's almost like God is also saying like a bit more, like yes, you know, you're just dropping, but where's the intentional, you know,
Yeah,
like those
yeah.
things. So that's even a current tugging of
I love
me,
that.
just yeah.
I love, do you know what? And I can relate it, like one of my really good friends, he's like my big brother, gets on my nerves like a real brother. And he actually said the same thing to me. So I said to him, like, you know, we have our little check-ins or whatever. And I said to him, oh, you know, I'm really struggling to find guests and da 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 da. And he said, like,
Mm-hmm.
sis, like, Instagram Live is dead now, you know, like, you need to just, you need to, you need to like, you need to start filming it. Like, you need to start having guests in the studio and doing it properly, like taking it up to another level. And I was like, I couldn't say anything because it's the same thing, like what you're saying. And you know what? It takes somebody who really cares about you and really wants you to grow and evolve to be really honest like that with you. So I didn't take it offensively,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
just was like, okay, all right. It just
Mm,
gave me that kind of food for thought. Like, okay, so what do I need? We do need a plan.
mm, mm,
Because although, you know, your people are hearing your music, yes, they are, but it is how can you make it um be received to a wider audience? Is it
mm,
that there's a lady that I had a few months ago, Charlene Monique, and
mhm.
she sings in the Kingdom Gospel Choir, but
Oh
does her
yeah,
own stuff as well.
yeah. I know her. Yeah.
And she had a little like really intimate venue, and she
Mm.
just did her EP. And I'm telling you, it's one of the best nights I had because I don't want to necessarily go to a really, I like music and I love
Mhm,
live music and I love those intimate
mhm,
kind of venues and you just where you can hear the, you know, the words and you know,
mm,
there's not too many people, but that is how you get recognized and you get to perform as well. Which it gets you to be better because when you're doing it live,
yeah,
it's very different.
yeah.
Um, and I just was like, I've watched her kind of evolve and she just
Mhm,
does these things again and again. And I just think, yeah, that's kind of, and I think for me as well, I always look at somebody who inspires me, who's doing something similar. Because
Mm.
they've already got, there's a blueprint already, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we're not following them, but we're kind of, they're an example for us to see,
Yeah.
okay, this is kind of how they've done it. Okay, what do I need to do? Is it that you need, I don't know, there's another thing, another platform that singers are using now. I'm trying to remember what it is. Is it Patron?
Eh?
I might
I
have it
don't know.
wrong. Anyway, I'll
I
find
don't
out.
know.
I might have had it wrong, but yeah, you know, what do you want to achieve with it? Is
Mm.
it that you just want it to be for church, or
Mm.
is this something that, because I, church is amazing and beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
but they
Mm-hmm.
already know God.
That's
And
it.
I think one of, your probably other bits of your purpose is being an evangelist.
Mm.
You're
Mm.
speaking about God through your music, and it's supposed to
Mm.
teach other people who don't know who God is about
Wow.
who
You know, that's
he
crazy because my granddad, God rest his soul, he used to just call me that evangelist, and I'm just like, what's it? But I see, because I feel like lately the message in our church as well has been about share the gospel, sharing the gospel, sharing your faith. And I've been like, oh, but I can't, I'm not really like a talk to a random, but it's like God will show me, right now, even when you release like a video or you do stuff, that's you share it. I'm like, okay. So,
is.
and one of my dreams I'd love to do is to busk, like not for money, but just, if you've gone into Stratford and
Yeah.
there's that person that's just, I'd love to do that. I would love to just sing out in that
Do you
kind
know
of
my
environment.
favorite place for busking is South
Mm.
Bank? The
Okay.
salon. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
it's a big station there, isn't it? Jeez,
Yes, it's by London Eye, but there's lots of different people around there.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but
I
you
would
want to
love.
be seen, isn't it? It's not being seen,
True,
but you know
true,
what I
true.
mean.
Yeah, yeah. Like
And do
let
you
it
know
hit the.
what? That there was a woman who I saw on there that I then saw performing at something else because people film you. Then they
Mm,
post it. Then it's like, I don't know. I just think
yeah,
I
that's a
don't ever
big
see a gospel busker.
right. You see, that's like there was a time in when everything was closed off, like during the pandemic, and you could just go to the 1-2 shop down the road. There was I walked through my town centre, and I just was like. There's such a glumness. It was so glum. And I literally felt, I did start to sing a little bit under my breath. But if I had a mic, I would just, not even a mic, just if there was like a designated spot, I was ready to stand there and just sing out because I felt like I need to shift this atmosphere. That's why I feel I'd love to just be in a place where I could do that. One day I will have to because it's an ongoing thing that comes back to me. I just want to sing out in the
Well,
street kind of vibe. Yeah, I want to do
maybe
that.
that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you need to do. So I think, yeah, maybe you need to ask your brother, what does he think as
Mm,
well? Because
mm,
sometimes the fact that he asks that question might mean that he's got the answer as well. Do you know what I mean?
true, true,
And it's
true.
like, okay, bro,
Mhm,
where do you think I should go? How do you think I should be intentional with this? What's your
mhm,
suggestions? Because I
mhm,
think, yeah, I think that would be a good idea. I'm just trying to think of other ideas because I just believe that, yeah, I don't think gospel should just be contained or kept
no, not
for
at all.
church because I feel like there's a lot of people who need it. There's
Mm,
some
mm,
broken people in this world
mm,
who need, and you know, I've been healed through listening to songs. I could tell you the songs that got me through certain times of my life, and you can. There's just there's so many songs I can think of that have really ministered to me, and they're not always gospel either.
mm,
Sometimes somebody's singing about, you know, I don't know. It's not about God, but they are able. They've experienced pain, and they're
mm,
singing about pain,
mm, mm,
and I'm able to relate to it. So
mm,
yeah, I'm just trying to think of ways, and then sometimes going on those kind of shows. I'm not saying necessarily X Factor,
no.
but The Voice. I can't remember. There was a gospel guy.
Oh,
Who was,
there's so many actually. Especially last year. There was loads.
Yeah. So,
Good.
and sometimes it just gives you a platform. It might give you, what's the young lady that won? Was it The Voice that she won? Antonia.
Yes, and oh, her
That's The
voice.
Voice, isn't it?
Oh, I
Oh,
follow,
yeah.
I follow her on Instagram. My gosh, she's
Yeah.
a, yeah,
But
yeah,
it's giving her that platform. Sometimes
yeah.
it's not even about winning it, you know, it's just
It's just
giving you
the
that
exposure. Yeah,
exposure. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think, yeah, sit down with that brother of yours. He
Yeah.
sounds very wise. He sounds
He
very
is,
wise.
he is. But
Okay.
as you were saying about like songs not necessarily just being where people are already saved. I think I caught that revelation when there was a time um where there was two events on the same day. They're both kind of similar, like open mic night kind of vibe. One was faith based, like at a church, and the other one it was a girl from my uni, who I always shout out for hosting this event. It was called "Can I Have a Minute" by Brenda, and she was like had a panel, not someone from MTV Base, so these people, and it was held in a pub, and I was like, which one should I go to? And I was like, I'm gonna go to the one where most people aren't singing about God because
Mm,
what would be the point? Like, not what's the point? Because it's nice, but I felt like where would my voice be of most impact? Um, and I went there, and my goodness, that's when I first sang "Be Free." With my guitarist at the time was Quincy, who I knew from uni, and honestly, people were like, "Oh," I think they didn't realize they're going to hear about God that day, but they did, and that's what I was like. This is where, like, even just those spots where I haven't yet gone because I think when I was ready, then I like got married and I had a baby. I was like, okay, but as time goes on, I'm gonna go hit those spots where they go and chill, like those kind of jazz, those kind of places
yeah,
where they go and vibe. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's really
That's also
funny.
another thing. Yeah.
We were talking about that yesterday actually. We have these little family meetings and we had one yesterday. And
Mm,
my husband and I used to go to this, I can't remember what the event was called. It used to be in like Whitechapel, and it
mm,
was Michelle Oscoffrey who used to run this event. You know,
mm,
the Oscoffrey family, very
mm,
musical family. And she used to put on this event, and Corinne Bailey Ray sung at this event. And I'm talking, this must be about 15, it
mm.
might even be longer than that. When we were single, we had no kids, we could go out on the weekdays. Um, and I'm telling you, when this woman started to sing, I was just like, who is she? And then she
Mm,
said her name, Corinne Bailey Ray. And I'm telling you, from that, when I heard that
mm.
Ray, that was just, I just held
Oh,
it. I held it. She
okay,
sang, there's a song that she sings, I don't even know what the song's called now. It's Just Like a Star, I think it's called.
okay.
It's on her very early album. But
Mm,
her voice was just, oh my gosh, it was amazing.
mm.
And so that's where Ray got her name from this lady.
Right.
Her, her voice was just amazing. She looked
Wow.
like this really quiet and timid
Mm,
woman. And then when she sang, it was just like, oh,
yeah, her tone is ridiculous.
her tone is
Yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah, it really is. And, I just think you're born to shine. And
Mm,
I feel like we want to wrap people up and just keep them um for church. And I feel like part of being a child of God is that you're supposed to go out and
mm,
share God's glory. He's given you those
mm,
gifts, and you're supposed to share them so that would then they'd be like, what? Oh, hold on a minute. Who's this? What's
mhm,
she singing about? Oh, she's singing about God. Okay. And that's what I feel like, that message needs to be delivered. And we
mm,
don't just want that delivered in church. We need to go out and spread that gift and that beauty and those words to people. People are in pain and they don't know how to be healed.
mhm, mhm. Yep.
Yeah. And music can be very healing, you
Mhm.
know. So yeah, that's my take on it all. So the last question I was going to ask is, what steps have you taken to walk in your purpose?
What steps? Well, as I said, keep saying yes. But
Yes.
just having those conversations with people around me as well, like my brother. And then there's Leke, a lawyer there. He's the guy that produced the music, but he's not just a producer, he's like somebody also like a soundboard, or just making sure that things are done with excellence really, and keeping me on my toes. And then obviously my husband, who is there to encourage and check in. Like we both, because he's got some ideas as well that I'm telling him. I just say the name of the idea, and that's all I have to say, because I'm like, we're not going to let that slip away, kind of thing. And then I know he will do that for me as well. So it's making sure like you've got this, like I want to say armor, but do you know what I mean? Like it's a network, but it's so strong that it helps you to basically maneuver in moving forward. And um, there's also research. I don't think I'm the best researcher. I feel like I'm surrounded with people that are so good at researching and finding out things like this. But for me, before I even start researching, I feel I feel tired. But I've realized the importance of doing so, and being just a bit more, what's that word, like stepping out, being more bold as well. Because I think
Mhm.
sometimes maybe I'd say I don't like researching because I don't want to find the answer, so then I don't, I don't have to do it. But once I've found it and unlocked it, I'm like, oh, so it's not actually that challenging to upload music on Spotify. Oh, okay, right. So it's every time, or oh, I can reach out to this person at Premiere Radio. Okay, like different things that come your way, or have come my way. I've been able to build relationships, and like liaise with others, and just be more open. I feel like as well. In order to walk in purpose, I've had to just be open minded, be honest with myself. So really reflective as well. Um, and addressing where I'm at as well, not rushing, because sometimes you're in the buzz and you're like, okay, next thing. But actually, no, no, no. How are we gonna make sure that whatever I deliver is excellent? Yeah, that's all part of it. And I'm still learning. I'm still growing, um, but I am excited for the next stages. And I'm fully aware that it's a journey, and that's what keeps me going. That I don't have to have it all together right now. But and one thing that I like to do, because I've been trying for years to just be more in God's words and absorbing it, so that my life, everything just reflects Him more. Because I feel I growing up, I was so hot on relationship with God, and like the fact that I can talk to Him, like that was popping. But actually studying His word, it was like kind of like, oh yeah, but we talk though, like. So I had to really realize that that is a big part of purpose as well, because if you know what His word says, like how to conduct yourself, how to think, how strategy, everything comes from the word. So I felt like if I'm doing that more as well, it gives me a solid foundation for my why, like, so it's not emotionally led, or yeah, based on feelings, because if that was the case as well, then this journey to purpose would just be yeah, it would just be something else. So yeah, I'm really trying, and that's why a lot of my songs include scripture. If a theme comes to me, like I've got a new song, Brewing, it's about trust. So I had to look up scripture, like what does God say about trust? Let me not just go by how I
Yeah.
feel about trust, And those scriptures are like then infused into the song. So yeah, that's my steps at the moment. Yeah.
I'm listening and kind of like it's sinking in. And I
Mm,
really agree. And I feel like some people know the words, but they don't have the relationship, you know, because
mm.
people, I've been to church and people quote some scripture. But then I'm looking and I'm like,
Just
but hold on a minute. You're not living that scripture. You're not
mm.
even, do you know what I mean? Yeah, for me, and I think like you, maybe I'm trying to think how many years where I've just heard God saying, you need to know your word, you need to know your word, study your word, study your word. And I have. And I feel like
Mm,
initially it was quite a challenge. Oh gosh,
mm,
it feels really boring, which is why I have to have um, different methods of it. You
mhm,
know, I might listen to YouTube, I might listen to a song. That's what I'm saying, like,
mhm,
because
mhm,
there's a lot of songs that are scripture
mhm,
based, and
mhm,
it's because it's coming in a musical form. I
mhm,
receive it more. I know
mhm,
that scripture. I can quote it. You know, because it's in a melody rather than just this kind of text.
mhm,
But the other thing is that the scripture, when you get discouraged and when you're feeling like you're not walking in purpose, or you're finding it challenging, or you're feeling like you're failing, or you're stuck and you're paralyzed with fear, that's why you have to have God's words, because
mhm,
He's then will speak. There's a word for every single thing,
mhm,
every single situation. There's a word for it. And you
mhm,
know, like when you were saying that your friend, when she was in a difficult place, and you
mhm,
sent your song, I do that like daily, because songs speak for me. Like sometimes
mhm,
I might
mhm,
not have the word, but I got a song for you. There's a
mhm,
song about that. And then yeah, so I think that's why we need the songs. That's why you've got to keep writing. And this and to be, what's the word? The word I'm hearing is unapologetic.
mm,
That's the word that I wasn't going to say that word, but that's what
mm.
I heard. My word was going to be authentic, but the
Yeah,
word that I heard was unapologetic.
wow.
And you know, I can only liken it to when I write. I remember when I was releasing my book this year,
Mm,
mate. I don't know what to call it. It might have been fear, might have been, some people call it imposter syndrome. But when I first was sending it to the editor,
mm,
I couldn't send it because I was just like, this is not good enough. And then you
mm.
get to that place of like, oh, no, well, that's what happens to me anyway. Just about when it's just about to go, the breakthrough of sending
Yeah,
it to the editor, because you know that then the process is almost coming to the end.
yeah.
Um, look, Precious said, gosh, been here for 2 minutes and you're speaking to me. Wow. Well, listen,
Come on
it's not
now.
us. We're vessels today. We're just vessels. But yeah, I don't know. Like for me, I get really worried about what other people are going to think of it. Is it going to be?
Mm,
Are they going to think it's good? Are they going to? And then that's why you have to study the word, because then I read a word and it says something to say, listen,
mhm,
this is what I asked you to do,
mhm,
and you just need to get on with it. There's
mm,
going to be people that don't like it. There's people that don't like Kurt Franklin's music, or, you know, Beyonce, whoever. There's
mm,
people who will critique it, you know, but the obedience in releasing that work, that body of work, that legacy of work, your
mm.
music is going to live forever. It's
Yeah.
on Spotify. So even when you're not, and I think of some of those, you know, I went to see Bob Marley at the theatre, the
Mm,
Get Up, Stand Up theatre production. And I thought, look at this. This man has been dead for
mhm,
years,
mhm,
decades.
mhm,
His music is still alive.
mm.
Isn't that's
Yeah,
something that
yeah.
you are creating, something that would live on forever and ever. And when I get like, oh, da, 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 she said to me, Jernine, you've got a legacy that lives forever. Your
Yeah.
books are here forever. Your children's children, you know, like
Yeah.
my kids are going to be like, that's my grandma singing.
Yes, yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, that even sounds
Wow.
absolutely ridiculous, isn't it now? Because she's a small child, but there is going to be that moment.
Yeah.
It is so yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is keep going,
Mm.
even when there are times when you're, and I know that must happen. Does it happen when you're just about to release
Yeah.
something where you think,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I thought it was
Yeah.
really good, but is it actually?
You don't have to listen to it in the car and then you listen to it in headphones, then you listen to it on speaker. You have to just do all of it because you're just like, you just think about what everyone's gonna think. 100%.
So do you have your like? circle that you let them listen to it first,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
then they kind of feed back to you? How
Mhm.
does it? What's the process?
So Dele, my husband, Maya, yeah, and make sure she listens because she does really respond. Like she start when I know she's singing along, I was like, okay. My brothers, so my older brothers especially, because they've just got musical ear, um, and they're very honest with me. And then Leke, the producer, his wife as well, Tolu, um, his brother, because people that are kind of musically inclined, but also um, can can give like some, not to say, oh, that sounds great, that's not gonna be helpful.
Constructive.
Like, yeah, like so even the new song that I just laid down the basics of, brother's like, if you were to do a harmony at the start, then, and I'm like, yep, you know what, I can hear that, I can feel that. So that's the circle of safety
Yeah.
where I can get that feedback and know it's something, and if it's down to me, I'm a very stripped back, like I'm used to like singing to a bass, like just a voice and a bass. So I have to also take on like, no, 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 let's give the listeners a bit of ear candy, maybe drop a violin in. I'm like, violin, what, why?
Yeah, that's right.
But
I do love the violin.
yeah, you see,
What
but
about a
me,
bit of saxophone? That's
yeah,
my
you
favorite.
see yeah, I do like hearing the saxophone, but all those things like a horn or whatever, I'm just like naturally, I'm just like, if it could just be a guitar and my voice. But I see why, like I take on the advice of others and see, okay, if you drop that here, oh yeah, that will lift it a bit or give the ear a bit of candy, Um,
And what
so
about for the people like me that like the little?
yeah, to bop as well, So sometimes we bring the flavor, Maybe I don't know if you like reggae. Maybe one day I do
Oh, I
reggae.
do like a bit of reggae. Do you know what? I like a bit of everything. On
Yeah.
my gospel playlist, I feel like I need to separate it because it's it's
One time it's slow and then it comes
yeah,
back.
yeah, and it's wrong because yeah, I don't think it should all be. I need to separate into all
Mm,
different things now. But
I hear
yeah,
you.
I like because there's different moods, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like if I go when I go to the gym, I listen to gospel,
Mm,
but then find myself. There's been times when I've actually just been crying because it's just that it just takes you. Yeah, it
mm,
does. But that's why I was like, maybe I need to like separate the playlist
mm.
so that I've got the kind of upbeat thing for the running
Yeah,
machine. And when I'm doing my stretches, and I can put like the kind of
it. That's
worship.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I keep saying I've got to separate it a little bit. But
Mm,
yeah, there's got to be something for everyone.
mhm.
Definitely,
Yeah, man.
definitely. We want something that the young people can listen to,
Yeah.
a bit something for the older, like they like
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
traditional kind of gospel. Yeah.
Mm,
Um, I've gotten into. I'm a bit more eclectic with the gospel because I used to just like one type, and now I'm getting into
okay.
like some
Yeah.
other stuff now,
Yeah.
things that
It's
I
good.
would not normally listen to, but it really hits me. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I think it's just yeah, I find it so the creative process is so interesting to hear everybody's kind of take on how they do it, the writing process, who they let read it,
Mhm. Mhm.
because
Yeah.
yeah, that is hard.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think maybe because I don't know, how long would you say it takes you to write a song?
Oh, it can. That's a hard question because most songs have actually just come to me. I must say, I've been like, there's a couple of songs that is full song, like I've just recorded, and there's a verse just in one go. Like there's a verse,
Really?
chorus. Yeah, that's when that's happened. I'm like, this is just down. I can't even say, oh, Philippa Bamgboye wrote this because it literally just record and the whole song is there. Other times it might be a chorus, and then I can add to it later, or a verse and add to it later. But yeah, to be honest, if I had time, like if I set aside a day, it's done really. That's
Oh, that's really good.
it doesn't really. It's not some ongoing process. Other than like fine tuning a lyric or saying, "Oh, should it be this word or this word?" Kind of. That's what happens later. But of recent, a door of opportunity is open to write for somebody else, and now that's been hard because when it's my own thing, then I can just go. But now I'm having to consider someone else's vision, put the words to it, and then I'm like on my seat, like I've never felt this feeling before, like Do they like it? Is it that
That
I've
is,
never had to have that feeling? But yeah, that's a new journey as well.
so
Collaborating with others, yeah, writing
I
with
was going
others.
to say that process when you're writing for someone else, do you just write it on your own, or do you kind of brainstorm together about what it is you're going to write about?
Right. So for this particular one, it was just like given the heart behind the song and the kind of message and the vibe, and it was left to me with the beat, and it was left to me to just write. So I wrote like two versions of it, and then like sang it back and said, what do you think? And then we agreed that let's come together, and maybe there's something that I think she like part of one type and part of the other. So I'm like, oh, this it's a new like it's a good feeling, even though it feels so uncomfortable. It's good because I'm being stretched in a different way. And this particular person is like very commercial minded, like know what can catch,
Hmm.
because she's a DJ, so she kind of knows what people like to hear too. So it might be a certain way. I think the way that I write is like storytelling.
Hmm.
So maybe this is me like stretching myself to know how to write in a way that's like catchy. If yeah, so
Yeah,
it's new grounds.
I like that. I like
Grounds.
that. But it's when I think about some of the people who I even remember even Floetry, not Floetry, what's her name? Marsha Ambrosius
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
writing for Michael Jackson and
Jesus.
what's her name? You know, Candy from Escape.
Oh yeah, yeah,
She's
yeah,
a
yeah,
big
yeah,
songwriter,
yeah,
isn't she?
yeah.
That's where she's kind of made most of her money is from songwriting. Um, I'm trying to think of Neo as well. He was
Oh yeah.
a
Before
writer
songwriter.
before. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's I think it's really amazing, especially if it's a song that you wouldn't, it's not necessarily your kind of thing,
Hmm. Hmm.
but
Hmm.
you can still write it and that
Yeah.
person makes it their thing. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
there's definitely a gift in that. But
yeah.
yeah, it's I love it. I love to hear how it's evolving. And what do you think that out of the two, teaching and singing songwriting, which one would you choose?
Most definitely singing songwriting, 100%. It's hard because I feel like in some way I would always have to be involved in impacting the next generation in some way. But I do thank God for like the church community that probably can still provide that if I was ever to step back from teaching. But definitely it's just my heart. It's what, yeah, it has to be singing, songwriting, yeah.
What about teaching the children to sing or to write songs? Have you ever thought about
Yeah,
doing something like that?
like a little class or something. If I
Like
could
a
come in,
workshop
yeah,
or yeah.
workshops, yeah, yeah, that's fine. I've always said to myself, how does somebody teach someone to harmonize that? That's one of the things that I just don't understand. I know there's people out there that do it. I might need to even YouTube it because I
One
feel,
of my singing teachers did. We
how
used to have
do,
this external lady that used to come in and teach us. And like she had the piano and like
mm,
she taught, yeah, she was amazing. That was
mm,
part, listen, that's how we was in like a little group and yeah, so we'd have all of our notes and what, yeah,
mm,
man, she was absolutely amazing.
yeah, that's
But
levels.
I do feel like it's something that you're kind of born to hear,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
because I
if
know
someone
there's
can't
some
hear
people
it,
that can, my sister's like that. She can listen to a song and she will
then,
find the harmony.
hmm,
Like,
hmm, 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 hmm.
so I don't know. I'm sure there's people out there that have definitely more
Yeah.
experience than me that would say, oh, no, you can't teach a harmony or you can teach a harmony. I don't know.
Mm,
Um,
I don't know.
but I just, yeah, I can imagine, because I think about young women
Hmm.
who maybe have got their writing and they've got little gifts. Because I don't know, I used to have this little book that I used to write poetry, actually. That's how it
Mm.
started, the writing. Um, but then you can, from a poem, you can kind of put it into that format.
Hmm.
And that's
Hmm.
something that you can teach people how to write.
Yeah, yeah. I think writing, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I definitely think there's a market for that as well. I can just imagine teaching these young young women about songwriting, and just it's a form of expression, isn't it? I think
Mm,
about, especially this age of how my girls are at the moment, this kind of teenage thing. I
mm,
say to them, just write a journal.
mm-hmm.
I'm not going to look in it. I just want you to be able to express your feelings and your thoughts and
Mm,
whatever emotions are going on, because,
mm,
it's a difficult time. It's a transitional time.
mhm.
Yeah. But what can I say? So would you say that you've been writing for how long? How many years have you been writing music for?
Wow, according to the book that I was probably writing when I was 8, it's probably from there.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. I'd make songs from back then, choruses. Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, I think when it became like solid songs that I would perform, well, I could say from church, I probably have done like original before when I was younger, but uni was when I was really just expressing my like actual whole songs, more than a chorus kind of vibe, yeah. But
Mm,
as I said, lots of them did come from freestyling at first and then develop later. So yeah,
okay. And what did you do at uni?
I studied psychology, but
Mm.
I was part. It's almost like that was just the back that that wasn't the main part of my uni experience. I was part of an amazing program that's still happening now, called Gospel Arts Productions. So it started off as like a society in the uni, like you can just be a part of. And I happened to live with the founders of it. So I saw the process, how they went about it. And they've now turned it into a business where they've got so many children in Birmingham are part of it. And they're like almost like an agency. So some of those children are now on like BBC shows doing voiceovers and part of,
Oh,
they're amazing. So because of that, my involvement in that, it opened doors as well to be part of like shows that were happening in uni that again weren't necessarily like Christian shows, but they would have us as a part of it, and then I would sing and flow. So yeah, that was basically my uni experience, like being part of events and creating and yeah.
oh,
So,
I'm so from so the other another guest I had, she was 7 when she knew she wanted to be a lawyer.
mm,
Yours is 8, and I'm just like, wow, that's quite young to know. So that
mm,
means that Roman could tell me, for what
mm,
he's saying his thing now could be his
it could be.
what he does later on. So let's just give us the final timeline from
Mm,
8 until where you are now. Just tell us
mm.
some of the process, and if there's any significant points where purpose became more clear, or um what am I trying to say? I want you to just say, okay, so I had this thing from 8, and then this is the steps that I took, and now I'm doing this. So just give us a little
Okay, all right.
overview of
Let
your
me try overview
life. Yes, yes, that's what I said.
it. So, so yes, from 8, I did mention that I wanted to. I didn't know how. I just sang a lot in church, children's choir, youth choir, then praise and worship team, and then at functions and part of groups like Genesis. It was a youth choir, but became a group, just different things, sang at weddings, and these were little steps that I took to being more bold and confident in the gift that I had, and uplifting environments alongside, as I said, my family environment and just the freestyle. My brothers just homing in on that carefree freestyling. Then hit uni, part of lots of events there. Met amazing creative people who also, when I collaborated with them, whether they were playing guitar or any other instrument, it was just like it just elevated creativity to another level. Um, Leaving uni and then putting songs on Spotify, no, SoundCloud, and thinking that was good. Tick box done. I'm cool. That was me putting myself out there. Hallelujah. but then years going by with nothing like this. It's just there. If you happen to hear it, you happen to hear it. Um, and then getting married and literally from the day of being married, 9 months to the day of being married, giving birth to my daughter, and life just changing for me dramatically, where I felt, if I'm gonna raise a child, like what do I want to show her? What do I want to model to her? How can I teach her to go and just be all she's created to be, if I'm okay with just kind of doing a bit of what I think I'm supposed to do, and that's it. So I said, by the time it's her first birthday, I will release a single, and that was the turning point. Alongside my friend saying about how sending her the song, it was literally within the same few months where I had a conversation with Leke, and I said, how do you go about releasing music? Like, how is it done? And when he explained it to me, that was it. Once I knew, I was like, it's not that hard, not as hard. I thought you'd have to be high up and know this person on this radio station, this person. But no, it's not that hard, thank God, in the age that we live in. So that's what I stepped out into releasing, and then I haven't stopped since, and just looking to improve all the time, and just leave this earth like empty, having poured out everything, everything. And that particular line I've held on to because of my dad, you know, like it still hits me that he's actually passed away, but it's something that I saw him do, as he just saw his life as to pour out, and that's what I want to do. So yeah, that is
That
my story.
that is amazing. That is so amazing. Just to pour out and to die empty. That's
Mm,
so, it's so deep, you know. It's
mm,
actually really, really deep. And I love the fact that when you became a mum, that was a turning point as well.
100.
And that you set a goal to say, right, I've got to do this because now somebody's watching you. You
Mm,
know, they've got all eyes on you, and it's amazing how that actually makes us do stuff. You know,
I know. And then people say,
you know
"Oh,
what?
you start when you're a mom." And like, I think, are you busy? But no, it's kind of like, it's like, I need to, because I am. Like, you see the value of your decisions more, um,
Yes,
when you're in a position, and whether it's biological or non-biological, when you know that you're in a position that someone's looking up to you, it really does propel you.
yes, that is so true. And I wrote my first book after I had my first child as well. So that
Wow.
really that impacted me. And then every time I stopped or didn't believe in myself or whatever, that
Mm,
journey was so long and tedious. But
mm,
I kept thinking that this person is watching me, not
good.
release this book that I keep that's been
Mm,
written. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like they do, although it's, you know, motherhood can be really challenging and demanding, it also what's the word? Redefines your purpose.
mm,
I would definitely say that.
yeah.
And it happens every time you have a baby.
Because you got these
So,
two books that you got out.
I've got two now, yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah. So then I
So,
need, well, the third the third one,
mm,
yeah, they're coming. It's
all
I
right.
didn't yeah, I don't really, you know what's really funny? It's a bit like having a child where someone says, you've got one now. So first of all, when you got married, oh, we want to have babies, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
And then you
yeah,
have one, and they ask you, when are you gonna have the next
yeah,
one? And it's
yeah.
like, I've just
Wow.
had this baby, like literally, I'm still breastfeeding this child, and you're asking me whether I have another. And it's the same with a book
Yeah.
or a
Oh,
song, I'm
snap.
sure.
Oh, snap. Yeah,
So as
yeah.
soon as the second book was released, I'm like, oh, or the first one, should I say? Oh, when's the next one? Then it's like, okay, that just came out in March. Let me have some time, just breathe before you ask me when the next one is.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I think it's just going at your own pace and not to feel pressured
Mm,
by
mhm.
everybody else. I mean, I do need that kind of like you know,
No. Yeah.
a little nudge sometimes. But
Mm.
yeah, it's an exhausting process
Mm.
when you're like continuously carrying out assignments that God
Mm.
has asked you to do. And sometimes those assignments are very short. It might just
Mm.
be, what was the one I had yesterday? Oh, just to get up and drive. Yeah, to just drive somewhere to pick someone up. Like,
Okay.
yeah, okay, I like
Mhm.
those quick ones. I was very tired. I didn't want to get out of my bed, but it was so clear, and I was like, okay, all
Mm.
right, I'm up. I'm getting up. But yeah, some of the assignments are longer, and then you think, okay, where are you going with this?
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
what
Mm.
what is this about? Yeah. So I think the process of things is what I'm about to say. With the process of purpose is a real interesting one,
Mm.
and that's where you learn the most. And for me, purpose is not a destination; it's a journey.
Yes.
And I think it's a bit similar to what you were saying. Is that it? We don't. It's not just a tick box. We're not just saying right, done it, finished. And it changes.
Yes. Yeah.
You might not be doing the same thing in
Yeah.
15 years.
Mm-hmm.
You might be teaching other people how to write.
Mm.
You know, you might be, I don't know, might be something else. But yeah, I think we know that the kind of encouraging, evangelizing, speaking words into people, um, helping people in difficult times,
Mm.
you know, all of those teaching, there's so many parts of your purpose.
Mm.
So that it might just veer off to all different directions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think you gave some really valuable points.
Mm.
And I love the daily yes.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing today. The daily yes.
Mm.
I'm gonna remind myself when I want to say no. You know,
Oh,
I've got a bit of fire in me, so I won't say no. But there's sometimes when I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I really want to do this. So what can I say? All I
Mm.
want to say really is thank you. Thank you for
Oh.
sharing your journey. Thank you for teaching my children and
Oh.
being a light in a dark place. Sometimes in that place was dark.
Mm.
Um, and just keep shining that light. There are so many children who I'm sure look forward to seeing you every single day and making them feel amazing.
Mm.
Because that's exactly what you do to them. You know,
Mm.
and that is priceless, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
100%.
continue to bless us. I'm going to go and listen to all of the back catalogue that I didn't even know there were so many songs. It's only since I've been following you, the ones that I knew about. But
Mm.
yeah, I have to go and listen. I have to put them on my Spotify so
Yeah.
I can go
When
give
you're
some more.
section them up in it, would you?
Oh, I'm going to get around to section it. I will do. I will do. But I appreciate your time. I will send you the link for YouTube so that
Okay.
you can send it to whoever you want to send it to.
Yes,
And I
yes.
look forward to what's to come. I look forward to whatever that your brother's going to tell you what the next
Mm.
level is or
Mm-hmm.
how to achieve the next level with the music.
Mm-hmm.
So thank
Thank
you
you so
again.
much for having me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been a
And have a
joy.
good rest of your evening. I know you got to wake up
Bed.
early.
Bedtime now.
I know, I know. All right. You
Thank
take care.
you, thank
See
you.
you later. Bye bye. Right, everyone. Thank you for joining. I will see you again next week with another amazing guest. If you haven't seen this before, you haven't seen Purpose Driven Life before, you can go back onto my page and you can watch all of the old ones. There are some amazing guests. We've had all sorts of different people doing all sorts of different things. Actors, songwriters, singers, youth workers, what else have we had? We've had property moguls. We've had all sorts. We've had amazing people, amazing guests sharing their purposes. And if it's something that you're really struggling with, or you're just interested in knowing a bit more about purpose, come and join us again next week, Monday. Thank you so much. Love you. Thank you, Philippa. I appreciate you coming on tonight. Take care, and I'll see you next week.